All right.
Great.
Whoever has not seen this and they are planning to see it, we're probably going to say some spoilers here. So
Okay.
you can mute right now if you want. As soon as you see this picture gone from like the screen, then you can probably cue back in. But all right, anyway, Grant. Nocturne
Also,
season
hold on. Also, if you're listening to it on audio, just fast forward. I don't know what time the time is,
Yeah.
but just fast forward because there's
Yeah,
gonna be
just fast
spoilers.
forward.
All
Anyway.
right, go ahead.
Okay. All right, Nocturne season 2, dude. It continues the adventures of Richter and his companions, but with Alucard now. At the end of season 1, you saw Alucard one-shotting that girl. And then I was afraid, again, we talked about this before, but I was afraid they were going to, he was not going to be in it much. You know what I mean?
They weren't going to focus much on him. And
that he was there and maybe bring him in the first episode, then he disappears.
Yeah.
And they try to, focus on all those other characters. But he was a major part of the story, which I was happy with. And they really did him justice, man. I mean, he was just as cool as the first Castle series.
I liked him. I like how they did him because obviously against regular
classic.
Well, yeah, but I like it where he was still kind of vulnerable against harder enemies. You know what I mean? Like the main bad guys.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at the same time, she was buffed up with god power.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, it showed some vulnerability. It wasn't just like him blowing through everybody and just I like that.
We don't get peak Alucard powers until towards the end of Symphony of the Night, right?
Yeah.
So, but they set him up with the classic kind of Symphony of the Night look.
Yeah.
So I wonder if they are, after this season, going to go into Symphony of the Night. I really hope they do because I think it'd be a huge missed opportunity not to.
They could. We're going to talk about what people have said.
All right, let's go ahead and talk about that.
You want to talk about it now? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So people have no imagination. So we said on Twitter, man, after this season, I hope they go into Symphony of Night on Twitter. And people were like, oh, well, technically, you can't do that because Dracula's, they already finished his story. He's back with his wife. And I'm
First of all, if you've ever played a Castlevania game, they brought Dracula back
about every time.
Yeah, just about every time.
Just about every Castlevania he has been.
Yeah.
And yes, you can bring him back if you have a little imagination. We're not Netflix writers who can say, oh,
give us a week, we can come up with a good way to bring him back.
Oh, easily. I mean, first off, they got out of hell, right? At the end of the last series, they got out of hell. How long does she live for?
Yeah.
Someone could kill her and he could just snap. The only reason Dracula is good at the end of last season, or, I guess you can say kind of good, is because his wife is with him.
Yep.
You take that away, he becomes a psycho killer again.
Exactly. Also,
and that's all you got to do.
Also, Alucard kill him so he can want to get revenge. Yeah. He can blame him. He can blame him for it.
Yeah. Or you just make Dracula bad again by 1,000 different possibilities you could do to make him bad again.
I would like to see like badass Dracula. I would like to see like a full 100% evil.
100%.
Like at the beginning of Castlevania series, like at the first couple episodes, that's what I want to see throughout the whole. I want to see that.
I do too. So let's break down some of the characters in this season. I do want to talk about some off-putting things first before we go into good things. So off-putting things are some of the bad guys, dude. Like some of them carried over from season 1, but some of the bad guys they weren't good bad guys. They were kind of silly. Yeah. Silly looking. People, I guess, might like Olrox, the guy with the green eyes that can turn into lightning dragon, Quetzalcoatl, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
He's Mayan, from his backstory, but he's not really a bad guy. And the way that season 2 ended, he turns out he was kind of in the middle ground. Like you can say Richter said he was going to kill him eventually since he killed his mother, and his character arc was, I didn't like it. I was hoping they would kind of bring him more into being more evil since he did kill his mother. But I guess since they're trying to end it now by doing a season 3, is just, I don't know. I just didn't like him.
I think they could have went into more in depth on him. I think that's the problem is they kind of didn't describe.
Well, they made him. Well, that's the thing. They killed him in the first. He killed Richter's mother in the first season. You were expecting a final showdown between maybe eventually him and Richter, but it didn't turn out like that. So that arc in the story of him avenging his mother fell flat.
Yeah.
It never happened. And then, then they made this big deal. One of the main bad guys, the Vampire Messiah, who was a bit. I didn't like that bad guy.
I didn't like her. She wasn't as cool as Camilla.
Yeah. Nah. Awesome bad guy. But yeah, she was just, I didn't like it. And Eduardo, the, guy who got turned into a demon or a night creature.
Yeah.
Enough of the fucking singing.
Yeah.
Okay. That singing got carried. The only cool singing part he ever did in the entire show is when Alucard was helping them fight when they were shooting the cannons, that bridge battle.
Yeah.
That was a cool song. But every other song, dude, enough of the fucking singing.
The chick that got turned later, the captain, that got turned to the blue, she was actually cooler than him. Like,
yeah, she was. Yeah, but yeah, so they got theirs. You know, they turned against the other 9 creatures and kind of helped with the revolutionaries with the battle. And then Eduardo rides off in the sunset with
his sister
Annette and
Richter.
All right, but so yeah, bad guys kind of. But now 𝐸'Lta. I didn't like 𝐸'Lta in the first season.
Not in the first one, no.
I thought she was silly in then. But what they made her into in the second season,
it's tight.
Now that was dope.
Yeah.
I liked how they did 𝐸'Lta in that.
Yeah.
And I loved, man, dude, that final 2 episodes. Like,
oh, yeah.
It is another slow burn. Okay. You do get to see some cool parts between Richter and Alucard and some lore stuff and all that in those first 6 episodes. But it's really the 7th and 8th episode that makes up for everything, right? Yeah. The climax, the battle, you know, his companions, Richter's companions against Bathory and 𝐸'Lta. You know, those sequences were just awesome, dude. Dude, when he busted out those glaives in icicle form.
Yeah. That's tight.
Oh, dude, that was awesome.
That was good.
Because he kind of has that attack, right, in Bloodlines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he has those things. Like, he has glaives. And not really, I wouldn't call them ice glaives, but they were glaives. And it was just cool.
Surprise! I liked Annette. I thought she was cool.
Annette was badass. Dude.
I thought she was badass, man. And I like
summoned everything.
Yeah, but I also
no, you're talking about you're talking about his companion.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Creole chick.
Yeah. Okay, I'm talking about the other girl.
No, Maria. No, Maria's tight. Yeah, no, she's tight too. But I like the fact that I liked Annette's powers, like how she could do all that stuff. But Maria summoning the dragon and summoning all the evil characters when she was like having all the evil fits and stuff.
Yeah,
that was
I loved
cool.
when her, 𝐸'Zhun and Richter were together and fighting. I love that scene. Like they combine their strengths or their magic abilities and
into the dragon. It's kind of like the triple Kamehameha sort of look like.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. But dude, I just loved how they did Richter's combos. Like he was like a martial artist with the whip and everything, and mixed up together with all his magical powers. It was great how they did that.
Yeah.
But boy, when they cut close into him when he was protecting Annette at the end, 𝐸'Lta, that scene that his eyes started
he started turning blue.
Oh boy, you knew shit was about to hit the fan there.
That's tight.
But I liked how they eventually, because season 1 he was just whatever up until like the final episode. But he's a badass in this season.
I like him. I like how they did his character. They kind of found a medium between like a normal person and Trevor Belmont. They didn't try to make him.
They didn't make him too much Trevor.
Yeah, exactly, which was cool. Yeah.
But they did play on. They played a little bit between him and Alucard. You know, that little Belmont and.
Well,
Alucard.
that's what he always said.
Yeah,
talking about the Belmonts
being irritating
and stuff. Yeah.
So I like how they did that. But Alucard was badass. But man, Richter. I mean, I like how they did him because, in canon he is one of the most powerful Belmonts. Yeah, and they did him justice. Like showing how powerful he is.
And 𝐸'Zhun Belmont, he's in some of the ones for I think it's from the DS, the Castlevanias on the DS. But he's not as old. He's like 17 or whatever.
They did a good job bringing the characters to life. I just wish the bad guys and the slow build up. That's probably what I have problems with.
I just think it's funny. I do find this odd, like how they used to how they were just walking around like Alucard, as pale as he is, and he looks like a vampire. He was just walking around the city, and like nobody would like bothered to like, hey, there's this pale guy.
In this world, people probably know who he is. He's very famous. He's traveled the world. People know who he is in this world. And he's obviously famous. They know who Alucard is. He's immortal and everything like that. Because you could tell their looks when they saw him, like when he walked in and everything like that, of who he is. But they did bring the daggers in. I like that. Yep. They mixed in, they gave Alucard the daggers, Castlevania games. I liked how they did that. They had a few more Easter eggs. They didn't bring his shield back. They just showcased like some of his shadow step moves and other things, the daggers, of course, his flying sword. And that's really, and like this picture right here, a famous, Richter's famous little holy cross attack, whatever. That's what they were trying to do here by giving an actual cross. But I liked how they incorporated that.
Talking about the one that's like the big pillar of light or whatever. Yeah.
And the cross kind of circles him. Mm-hmm. I see what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like overall is another good Castlevania season. It's way better than season 1.
Yeah.
I thought season 1 was all slow until the very, 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 very end.
Yeah. My thoughts are, I give it as a whole, since this is the last season of Nocturne, I give it an 8. It's not as good as the first Castlevania with Trevor Belmont. It's not as good as that. But it is good. It's still good.
Yeah.
The first one's still better to me.
I think it's way better, honestly. Because again, the glowing aspect of this one was the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
It kicked into overdrive and it really gave you what you've been waiting for, I would say. Now, again, we do hope that they do Symphony of Night. I think I'm telling you right now, it's a travesty, dude, if they do not do it.
I mean, now would be the opportunity to do it.
Some way or another, they can do it. Okay, it can be done.
Won't you send them a letter?
Don't tell me you can't bring Dracula back. It's Castlevania. You can always bring Dracula back.
You should send them a letter.
Anyway.
Send them a letter.
Oh, I will.
Start a Patreon. What's the thing where you get a bunch of signatures?
Oh, what is it?
Patreon?
It's not Patreon.
No, it's not.
It's not Patreon, is it? It's like
I don't know.
Petition.
Petition.
You didn't know that word, Grant?
From Mississippi. Of course I didn't know that word.
All right. So, yeah. I say, for me personally, season 2 is an 8, but season 1 was like a 6 to me.
Yeah.
So I give this whole series a 7.
Somebody works for IGN over here.
Well, they gave it like a 5 or something.
Somebody gives it a 7 like IGN.
Yeah,
you saw that one guy who you told me it was funny what you said. He said these are 2 separate writers in 2 different time periods.
Yeah,
so
they gave it a 6, dude. They gave this a 6.
And would you?
This is not a 6.
No.
I mean, you could make a case for, of course, the first several episodes, but they gave the second season a 6.
Oh my god, what an idiot! This is why they're terrible.
I guess they didn't like that, Richter and Alex stole a show from.
Well, they had all the man. I'm surprised they didn't love it. They had the gay lovers and everything in it.
Yeah.
Everything right up their alley.
And like Maria and them, they were badasses, dude.
Yeah.
So like, why a 6? I mean, I could see episode 1 through 6 saying that's a 6, but the whole series in a whole is above a 6. Nah. But yeah, this is an 8 to me, season 2, but the whole Nocturne is a 7 to me.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get you an application for IGN. Since you like to hand out 7s.
I think that's a fair score.